Hi everyone, welcome to Club 2 Episode 6 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. So we are sitting on the cusp of a brand new season with Connor's Key Nomads in the Welsh Premier League on our Journeyman series, and I've been through a summer transfer window, so in a second I'm going to show you what we've done with that. Not a lot, but we've done a few bits and pieces. And then we're going to have a game against Barry in the Welsh Premier League to kick off our new campaign. You can see a couple of games have happened already for other people, but this will other teams, but this will be our first one of the season. Other things to tell you about is that I've tried as much as I can to bring down the issues financially that we've got. You can see that we've improved a very small amount from where we've been at our weakest, but we've still got some debt, and currently that's not looking as though it's going to change anytime soon. We've got a little bit of money left in the wage budget, and there are a couple of deals that I'm looking to get over the line that will decrease that slightly in the next couple of days before the transfer window closes. But basically we are a club that struggles financially, and I'm not sure that's going to change anytime soon. The board don't seem to be too concerned about it at the moment, so I'm not too concerned about it just at the moment. So yeah, all things considered, it wasn't too bad a summer. We had a few people on loan that have gone back to their parent clubs. We released several players. I will show you some of that now. So if we go to the released player section, you can see that we released a few just because they weren't of a standard that I wanted, and contracts were running down and all sorts of other things. We loaned out, Ryan Farhat, just because I couldn't find a place for him in the squad that I wanted, so I wanted him to get some game time. So he's gone. I'll talk about the incomings in just a second. There's some, it's not youth ones. There's some other bits and pieces that we did in terms of releasing, as I say, primarily those that were on loan with us last season, which is why they don't really show up anymore. Anyway, we did a little bit of business. We brought 3 players in. One you knew about at the back end of last season because I'd pre-ordered a striker, let's say, Busumbru, and he's come into the club and is an upgrade on what we had, definitely. And you can see down here that he's got 4 in 4 non-competitive games. So in our pre-season friendlies, he's got 4 in 4, which is very, very positive. Currently sits on a 4-star rating, and he's got a potential of 5 stars, so that's also encouraging. So the main areas that we've got issues with was we had some gaps in our central midfield because we had at least one player, I believe, that was on loan last season and went back to their parent club. So we brought in a couple of players for our central midfield. The first one is Will Evans, and he's going to come in and play in our first 11. He's been given a number 4 shirt. You see, he's got a decent amount of passing. Vision isn't brilliant, but teamwork is good, and work rate is good. Determination is good. So hopefully he's going to add a little bit of steel in that midfield, even though his tackling's not particularly brilliant. His physicals are very good. And so I've brought him in to sort of play a little bit of a holding role in midfield. Not deep, but just gives us a bit of bite in there if possible. So he's the first person I brought in, and the second person I brought in is Chris Palmer, and he's going to come in and play as a bit of a backup. But he's going to come in. He's already come in, should I say? He's 18 years old. He's got a decent passing. His teamwork's not brilliant, but his vision's a little bit better than Evans. His work rate is still good, so is the determination. And there's a bit of a theme going on there. I want a little bit more work rate and determination because we're going to be playing the Gegenpress a little bit this season, at least to start with, to see how we cope with it. I switched to it at the back end of last season when we were playing the lower half of the table teams, and it seemed to be working reasonably well for us, so I thought we'd continue with that and see where that takes us this season when we're playing all of the teams in the league. So those are the 3 players that we bought in. There's a couple more that I'm having a look at because we do have one more midfield spot that I don't have any cover for, so I've put in a bid for Jay Gibbs, 29. He's not the best player, but at this point in the transfer window, with the finances that we've got, etc., it's about finding the best player you can, and this is basically the best player that's left to me, I think, that I can find. So I've put in an offer for him. We'll see whether that goes through in the next few days. And the other one is another free transfer, and he's a left-sided winger on the left side, just because we have literally no cover there at all for Parry, who's our one left winger. And again, this guy is not great, and I do see that, I do understand that, but we just need a little bit of cover on that left side of midfield, and he's as good as I can find at the moment. I've put in some offers for others that have been turned down, and they've turned me down and all sorts. So we're scraping the barrel a little bit, but he is only 18, and if he gets a little bit of game time this coming season, if we get him in, he's currently on trial somewhere else, but if we do get him in, some of these attributes I hope will improve a little bit as we go through the season. So the reason I'm taking a punt on him, if it comes off and we do get him, is that he's 18 years old and he's got some improvement. But if he improves on his crossing, dribbling, determination, little bit of flair, little bit of pace, you can see that the base stats for some of that is reasonable at the level that we're playing at. So that's the reason for bringing him in. Kerry Fenlon is the guy's name. So those are the bits that I'm still working on. We'll see what happens in the next few days for that. So by next episode that will be sorted. So here we are at the very beginning of a new season, and the expectation for this season is interesting. If we go and have a look at the season preview, you can see that they think that we've been suggested a 5th place finish, which I think isn't terrible at all. I will be happy anywhere within the top half of the table, which is 6 and above, because if you remember from last season, at the 22 league game point, it then splits, and there's 2 competitions that happen, one for the upper competition and one for the lower half of the table, should I say, not competition. So that's where the split happens after 22 games. So I want to be in the top 6 if possible for that second part of the season. The only last thing to tell you about, if we go and have a look at our schedule and we go back to last season, you'll see that there was an additional game at the end of the season, which was a playoff game to see if we can get into one of the Euro spots. From 3rd to 7th, I think it was, qualified for those, and we finished in 7th, and we played Colwyn Bay, and we got beaten comfortably, which is why I didn't put it in an episode in the end. I thought about it, I could have done it, but it didn't turn out particularly well. I'd kind of said all of my goodbyes at the end of the Newtown game in the league, so I decided not to make an extra episode just for a loss that was not particularly good, and one that I expected, really. We played the 3rd place side in the league, and they showed why they are compared to us from last season. So yeah, it was what I expected, but I just thought I'd bring it to your attention just to show you that that's what we got up to. In terms of our friendly matches, you can see that it's been a bit of a mixed bag, but we've played a couple of harder sides in Wrexham and even the Blackburn Rovers under 23s. And then we played Llangefni, I will go with that. I'm so sorry for any pronunciation issues that I'm having with some of these Welsh names. But so we played them and then Glentoran, and we won both of those 2 games. Now, we lost a couple of goals in each, which is disappointing, but we scored several. And if you remember, I showed you that our new striker Luke Busumbru scored a couple, so he got 1 in the game there and 1 in the game against we got 2 in the game against Glentoran, so he was responsible for a couple of good goals in the pre-season. So yeah, it leads us into a season where I hope we can finish in the top half. As I say, I think we've got some slightly better players here and there, especially in our striking options, which is positive. The last thing to show you just before we go into the game, and it won't take me long, there's a couple of players that, just because we have to fill out this squad a little bit and give enough rotation and options, there were a couple of players that I bought up from my under 19s side. because I thought that if they can get some good game time here and there, then they're going to be useful to us and they're going to improve. So the first one is Jake Fenlon, and he's come in as a right-sided option down the right-hand side. He'll play as an alternative to Sacramento, who will mostly start. But again, it's a bit like one of the guys that we saw in our potential future deals. He's not the finished article by any stretch, but he is 17 and he's got some good base stats, some good base attributes, should I say, for for the position that I want him to play. So he's worth having around the squad and getting him some game time and see if we can improve him. So that was the first one, and the second main one was this guy, Ricky Valentine, and he's coming in as our third choice striker. So we've got Busumbru, if you remember, and then Graham came in midway through last season and did pretty well in the second half of last season. So those two will primarily play as our striker. Again, this guy isn't the best, but he's got one or two decent enough attributes that if he gets some game time and works on his game well enough, then potentially there's a reasonable player in here. So that's why I brought him up into the first team squad from the under-19s. The other reason being that if we go and have a look at our tactics page, you can see down the bottom right hand corner here, we have to have 3 under-19 or under-21 players. Is it under-19? Under-19 I think it is, in our match day squad. And so bringing a couple of them in, you can see that we've got 1 or 2 in the main 11, and we've got 1 or 2 on the bench, and we've got 1 or 2, 3 on the reserve list. So you can see that we've got plenty of options to always have those amount of players on the matchday squad that we need at the underage level. So that's another reason why bringing them through at this point was worth it. Anyway, enough rambling from me. Let's go check in with the team to play Barry in the Welsh Premier League. So the only issue that we've got injury-wise is Joel Edwards is out today. He's got a couple of days left before he comes back from a bit of a knock. And he would normally play. He's one of my first choice central defenders for this season to start with, at least. And we'll see whether he keeps his pace. But he's unavailable for today. The only other issue is that both our left backs. No, Harris is not a left back. So Harris has got a little bit of a knock that he's coming back for, but he's on the bench anyway, so he'll be available if we need him. The other issue was Owens at our left back spot. He's got a little bit of a knock that he's got that he had, which meant that he's coming back to fitness, and so I'm going to risk him to play the game. But we do have Callum Roberts on the bench if need be to bring him on as a replacement if partway through the game Owens can't continue anymore. So yeah, that's the only issues health-wise that we've got. Other than that, pretty much everybody's fit and healthy, having gone through the pre-season. So the first team sheet of this particular season has Brass in goal, Tatum at right back, Owens at left back, Gardner and Hope in central defence, Evans, Rogers, McBurney in central midfield, Sacramento on the right, Parry on the left, and Busumbru up top, with a bench of Edwards, Roberts, Harris, Palmer, Fenlon, Gareth and Graham. So let's get into the first game of the season and see what happens. So a couple of things to say. Barry are playing the same formation that we are, so they're matching up in a 4-2-3-1. They're playing in, at home today, so we're away from home. Barry will be in a bluish or a yellow strip with some blue trim, I think, and we'll be in our red kit. In terms of the team talk, I handed over to my assistant, and so he just wanted to encourage them at the first point of the season, give them a bit of a morale boost, which I allowed him to do. So he basically just said, come on lads, show me what you can do. And it got a little bit of motivation and a few listeners, which is positive. So let's get into kickoff. So as I say, we're away from home and we're in our red kit against Barry, playing in the yellow shirts with the blue shorts. And we get kickoff and immediately there's a highlight. And it's with us in our defensive area with Tatum at right back. He goes long up to Busumbru, off to some Sacramento, goes out wide left to Parry, and Owens there to support. And then we lose the ball and they try and go over the top long into our defensive area, but there was nobody there for them, and Hope picks it up, and again we go long but lose the ball in the defensive midfield area. And now it's Barry down the left hand side with Pritchard, and he has a shot come cross maybe that is just high and wide and everything bad really, and didn't really trouble anybody. And it was a bit of a weird highlight really, wasn't it? Some okay play. We lost the ball a couple of times, regained it a couple of times, and then they had their effort on goal and it didn't come to much. But you can see early signs are that we're having a reasonable amount of possession in the game. Not so many of the shots. They've had more shots than us, but here's an opportunity for us. And the cross goes deep. And we pick up the loose ball with Busumbru on the top of the penalty area. And there's Gardner to support him. Goes backwards to keep the ball to Tatum. And back out to Gardner. A couple of our defenders caught in the sort of higher up the pitch than normal. And that's where we lose the ball through some of the loose play there. And they run straight through and have a decent shot on goal. But Brass is equal to it and parries it round the corner of the post for a corner kick. And the corner comes in from Pritchard. And he goes far post and a good header, but a good block on the line, and then we boot it clear out wide and it goes out for a throw in. Here's a free kick for Barry. They're piling on the pressure a bit, but it was a bit of a tame one, and it goes straight through to our goalkeeper, and we can build up again. And Hope again goes up to Busumbru, who holds the ball up well, off to Rogers, and then Rogers with a loose ball, and Hope again has to tidy up but doesn't quite manage it. But we'll get another opportunity and really fails at that opportunity. He tries a pass back to Brass to boot it clear, but the ball gets caught in no man's land between defender and goalkeeper, and the striker nips in and pokes the ball home for a 1-0 lead to Barry after 27 minutes. You can see that we lost the ball there. There was an opportunity for him to boot it clear or do all sorts of things with it. He chose to try and go back to the keeper, and Mayembe for Barry snuck in between them and gets a goal at the half-hour mark, and we find ourselves 1-0 down, which is disappointing. I think that we are certainly under the cosh a bit from their attacking, but we've had reasonable amounts of possession. We just haven't done much with it so far. But there's a good opportunity for Sacramento to win the ball and come at them. McBurney onto the top of the area, and there's a lovely shot by McBurney. He's recognised as one of our better players in our squad, and last season did okay for me in the second half of the season. Not quite as well as I'd like, but he had a reasonable reputation when I showed up at the club, and there's an opportunity to see it. At the young age of 17, 18, whatever he is, he's our vice-captain, and he ran through to the top of the penalty area and then took his opportunity and put it in the corner of the goal for 1-1 after 35 minutes. And another highlight here for us to build up from the back. Gardner goes long to Sacramento down the right-hand side, loses out but regains the possession again. Into McBurney, into Busumbru, back out to Evans, keeping the ball very nicely. And there's Sacramento with a long drive from a very similar position from McBurney's shot. And he powers the ball home left-footed, I think it was. And that was a really nice finish. After some good build-up play, we kept the ball nicely. We put it into our striker, got it back out again. And there's Sacramento, gets it out from underneath his feet. And then left-footed, catches the goalkeeper a little bit by surprise. But I think you'd expect the goalkeeper to have done a little bit better than he did. And he just watches it go into his net. And we take a 2-1 lead. Corner for Barry. And there's a good header on the far post, but it goes slightly over the bar. And in the end, the diving goalkeeper didn't have to worry too much about it. And another highlight, it's been very highlight heavy in this first half. We lose possession and again regain possession. Tatum at the right back up into Sacramento. Can he run at his defender? He can. And he gets past him. And then the challenge comes in, but the loose ball goes to Evans and he shoots straight at the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, good opportunity for Evans there. Either side of the goalkeeper would have been very hard for him, but he powered it straight at the keeper, and the keeper holds the ball very nicely. The ball in our defensive area was won nicely. A loose ball in their defensive area means that Parry can pick it up down the left-hand side. Nice looping cross in, and again it's Sacramento on that far post, left-footed. So a lovely ball by Parry. You think that the cross was going to be blocked by the defender, but he looped it up over the top of everybody. A little bit of confusion in the box before Sacramento found it at his feet. Here's this lovely looping ball that clears everybody. Evans goes up for the header, knocks it onto Sacramento, and left-footed, he gets a half-open net and puts it in there. And is there an issue there? Oh, no, he wasn't offside. I thought for a second they were going to take it away from us, but they haven't. And it's a 3-1 lead in the first half with a couple of minutes of the first half left. And the time's ticking down. There is the half time. And we take a really good 3-1 lead. It's really encouraging away from home as well. So we're going to go in and passionately tell them that I'm really pleased with that and keep it going. I don't know whether there's any reason to change anybody at half-time. There isn't. Everybody's doing reasonably well, even if their ratings are not particularly high. Their health is okay, so for now it's not worth changing anything. And you can see that the body language of some of the Barry players is now not particularly positive, and maybe we can make the most of that. So here we are again, Tatum with the cross in, and it's cleared, and Knight picks up the ball for Barry and runs with no real pressure on him, puts the ball through for Mayembe again. Can he get a shot away? He can. And the defending there was not particularly good, was it? They ran with them, but didn't really get a shot, an opportunity to take the ball off them. And when they didn't show the strength to be able to do it. You can see here, there's an opportunity just there where he didn't quite manage to get his foot in. And that left Mayembe with a decent opportunity. And he, to his credit, does very nicely and puts it in the corner. A highlight there of, I think, a corner that I don't really know what happened. Didn't get too much of a chance to see it, but they follow up with another corner for Pritchard, and the corner goes into the back post, and it was a lovely header, wasn't it, at the very far post, quite wide. And I think the goalkeeper might be a bit disappointed by that, but they've come back at us in this second half. Within 5 minutes or so of the second half, they've fought back to 3-3, which is really disappointing. I mean, the goalkeeper got a hand to it, but not strong enough. And here we go again from a kickoff with a highlight, and we just give the ball away. Too easy, far too easy. It should have been much simpler for us to keep the ball from our own kickoff than that. But here, Barry come again down the left-hand side, and they get an opportunity for Mayembe again, but no, it goes wide to Thomas. Cross comes back in again. There's lots of people on that far post. On both posts there, you could see that there was at least one player free. If the ball ran into that area, they would be free. We'll have a look at it on the replay. Again, our fullbacks were not quite as where they need to be. Look, I mean, Thomas is in so much space to get the cross in, and there, look over that far side, there's two of them that had and then two on this side of the goal as well before Thomas puts it in. And both sides there, they had too many players free, and I don't like that. Maybe it's about our wingers not coming back and tackling back enough, maybe. I'll check in on that at some point to see what the setup is for them. But we've now got our work cut out for us, which is really disappointing for such a good first half performance. But Parry, can he make amends? And again, it's Sacramento with that left foot of his on that far post. Parry to Sacramento seems to be working very well, doesn't it? Bypassing the centre a bit and taking it out wide right. So here we are on the left-hand side. Parry gets the opportunity to cross the ball. Cross comes in. Misses that central point, but then there's Sacramento on that far post with another very good left-footed half volley, wasn't it? And we go back to 4-4 with just coming up to the 60-minute mark. We're going to have to see if we can hold on to what we've got now. Sacramento with a deep free kick in, but the header goes over and didn't challenge the goalkeeper on that occasion. Just coming up to the point where I like to think about making a sub or two just to see if we can get some fresh legs on there. So let's see what we've got to work with. Chris Owens, as I said before the game, has got that little bit of lower health than anyone else. So we will bring him off and put Roberts on. Sorry, not Edwards, Roberts. We've got a couple of yellow cards and some very low ratings in that central defence. And then we've got Parry, who's surprisingly on a 6.4, considering he's created at least a couple of goals, I think. So we're going to leave him on. I am going to take off Gardner and put Edwards on and just try and get a slightly more energised defence. And then we've got Rogers here, who's on a 6.5 as well. I think that's the guy I'm going to replace. See if we can put some more energy into midfield and bring Palmer on, one of our new guys. See if he can play the last sort of 15-20 minutes of the game and help us secure that middle of the park a little bit. There's Edwards going long to Busumbru, but he misses out on it. And what on earth happened there? Mayembe again. But all it was the long ball for us. Look at that. The long ball, Busumbru didn't get to it. And then Richards with a huge ball over the top. Somehow Mayembe finds himself onside. Our defenders are completely sleeping. And was it disallowed? It was disallowed in the end. So, I don't know. Confusing, wasn't it? But there we are. It just sort of seems to drift away at the end of that match, really. The last sort of 10 minutes of the game, not an awful lot happened. Did we get a credible 4-4 draw, or did we get a disappointing 4-4 draw? I think I'm going to go with a little bit disappointing because of how we did in that first half. That second half of the first half, we were exceptional in. My assistant is suggesting don't be too hard on them after that. It was a tough result. I don't know, really. I think we should have done a bit better. I think because it's the first game of the season, I will go unlucky, boys, just because I don't want to create any fuss over it at this point. And I'm not sure where Barry are supposed to be in the sort of echelons of the league, as it were. So we'll leave it there for now on that one. But we'll watch that. 4 goals conceded is not good. But of course, we did have one of our more recognised central defenders out through injury. So I don't know. That's what it is today, though. You know, we show up, we play the games we can, and sometimes it goes for you and sometimes it goes against. And today it went a little bit against us in that second half, didn't it? But there we go. So apparently Busumbru and Barry have got an acquaintance from the past that they renewed. Evans makes his debut. Sacramento on form. Sarmento. Have I been Sacramento all the time? Oh dear, it's not Sacramento, it's Sarmento. I've been saying that wrong all day, I think. Anyway, Sarmento. Smothers spotted at Jenner Park. Who's he looking at? Our goalkeeper. Okay. Don't really want to lose our goalkeeper, but there we go. Fenland set for Connors Key. So this is the guy that we were looking at, the left-sided, Kerry Fenland, left-sided youngster. That isn't particularly amazing, but we could make better, I think. So we will approve that deal and get him into the club. And then that will be it for today, really. I am disappointed by that result, but I do understand that it's early in the season and we're trying to find our feet, and we had a defender out through injury for the game. So there we go. It is what it is. But lots of goals, lots of highlights, lots of entertainment in that game, though. So that's a really positive start. And the next couple of games, what have we got coming up? We've got a cup game against Colwyn Bay, who, if you remember, took away our opportunity for Euro stuff last season and are in our division and are usually quite high up. So that's going to be quite a tricky game. But then we go back into the league and we've got some hopefully winnable games in here in the month of August just to kickstart our campaign a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back at the very end of August just to see one, where we are in terms of what our league form has been like. 2, we'll play Haverfordwest, who have never played on an episode before. I think they possibly came up promoted this season, so we'll play them in the next episode, and it'll also give me an opportunity to round up any other transfer dealings that may or may not happen in the next few weeks. So that's what we'll do. We'll come back and play Haverfordwest in the next episode. So I hope you'll join me for it. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. If you are, then please subscribe to the channel. It helps you keep up to date with the videos. Click that notification bell. If you like this particular episode, then why not click a like on it for me? That helps me get seen by so many more people. The more likes I get, the more people see my video on the search function in YouTube, so it's really important. So if you could do that for me, that'd be great. If you're playing Football Manager yourself, I hope you're having a great time doing it. Let me know how your save is going on in the comments below. Always interested to hear your stories. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I will see you soon, and bye for now.